no, who's taking you loving you so. Damn it! God damn it, where the hell is that goddamn Tamashi?
What the hell are you doing?
For your information, young hero, I'm trying to find a super legendary, ultra rare Pokemon called Tamashi.
Okay, first of all, the whole Pokemon Go craze died out months ago. Second of all, you look absolutely ridiculous in that dumb jacket and that dumb hat. And third of all, Tamashi isn't an actual Pokemon. She's a female YouTuber that makes Pokemon videos.
That's ridiculous. Are you kidding me, young hero? Women don't play Pokemon. That's preposterous. Have you lost your mind?
What the hell are you talking about? Of course women play Pokemon. And TamashiiHiroka actually exists. She's an actual female that actually plays Pokemon that actually has a YouTube channel.
No, I don't believe you, stupid idiot. Women do not play Pokemon. I'm telling you, they do not play Pokemon. That's strictly a guy's thing. Only guys want to catch them all. I highly doubt that someone named TamashiiHiroka actually exists.
Okay, listen you idiot. Just sit down and I'll explain it to you, and I'll show you that TamashiiHiroka is real. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Examining. Today we're going to examine TamashiiHiroka. Yes, the popular poketuber that everybody loves to hate. I figured since I did an episode on Proto Mario, who's a popular poketuber, why not do episodes on the other two popular poketubers? I figured this is part 2 of a 3-part poketuber trilogy, if you will. Yeah. Now, before we get started, I want to make it abundantly clear. This is not meant to be an attack on TamashiiHiroka, so please don't go out and pester her because of this video. Don't attack her. If you have an issue with her, try to have a civilized discussion, okay? And for the fans of TamashiiHiroka, please don't come after me for this. Again, this is not meant as an attack, nor am I going after her because she's a female or because she's popular, way more popular than me. No, this is just meant for the purposes of criticism and entertainment, so please don't attack me. Please, don't hurt me. I'm fragile, I break easily. As long as you respect my opinion, I'll respect yours. Capiche? Are we on the same page? Alright, great. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Let's start off with some positives. First of all, the production values are incredibly high. Certainly a lot better than anything this show could pull off. The videos are well shot, well lit, well edited, and her voice is easy on the ears. Now I know some people are going to think her voice is annoying or boring or childlike, but to be honest, I don't mind it. It adds to the simple, laid-back, friendly approach that these videos provide. And it doesn't make me want to bang my head against the wall or kill myself, so the voice is just fine. It's smooth, it's calm, it's laid back. It's not super analytical, but it's also not loud and in your face. It's just right. And she's also incredibly knowledgeable about Pokemon. Granted, that knowledge could probably be debated given some of the lists she's done, but I get the sense that she truly cares a lot about Pokemon. She never sounds bored or uninterested. She sounds incredibly passionate and engaged. And if there's one thing you can give her credit for, is her passion. And it's the fact that she's also not boring, so while you may not agree with some of her choices, at least it's not boring, at least you can actually get through the videos and be engaged. Yeah, those are literally it for the positives. Now, let's examine all of her flaws. Tamashi has become quite notorious within the YouTube community for her incredibly flawed Pokemon list, so much so that numerous people have made commentaries about them. And they're often criticized for being incredibly illogical and not making a lick of sense. Nowhere is this more prevalent than in her top 10 most overrated Pokemon list. And holy shit, that video is epically bad. It is horrendously awful. Seriously, as somebody that grew up loving Pokemon, mostly due to the anime series, it was incredibly painful to sit through. The logic in that video makes about as much sense as eating a ginormous pile of mud thinking it's a chocolate fountain. Now, I'm not going to examine the entire list because that would simply take too much time. However, there are a few specific points that I want to address, because a lot of the things she says in this particular video don't make any sense whatsoever.
While it's fine to dislike Trubbish, it's not quite deserving of the flack it gets while other Pokemon designs get a free pass just for being older.
While it's fine to dislike Trubbish, it's not quite deserving of the flack it gets while other Pokemon designs get a free pass just for being older.
While it's fine to dislike Trubbish, it's not quite deserving of the flack it gets while other Pokemon designs get a free pass just for being older.
So if Trubbish is constantly hated by Pokemon fans for being a literal garbage bag, while giving other Pokemon designs a free pass because of nostalgia, wouldn't that mean he's overhated and thus not an overrated Pokemon? I mean, come on, seriously, he's overhated, he's not overrated. If it were a list about overhated Pokemon, then yeah, his inclusion would make sense. But this is a list about overrated Pokemon. Seriously, what the hell is he even doing on there? I mean, this infuriates me as a writer and as a countdown maker. If you're gonna make a top 10 list, could you ensure that it actually, I don't know, makes sense? Because your thin reasoning as to why Trubbish is supposedly overrated is one of the many reasons why this video is an utter mess. And it just comes down to bad writing, poor planning, poor logic, poor everything. Now, if you're wondering why I skipped everything up until her statement, that's because she goes on and on and on and on and on and on about designs and nostalgia, and doesn't even explain why Trubbish is supposedly overrated. She doesn't go into any sort of detail, she doesn't elaborate, and gives paper-thin reasoning. Those are just some of the many problems that her video contains. Oh, God. Alright, seriously though, what's next?
Number 9. Gardevoir. Gardevoir has been a popular Pokemon for many reasons, but somehow it ended up as the postermon for the Pokephilia community. For the uninitiated, there exists a small subgroup of Pokemon fans who don't just want to train and battle Pokemon, they want to date them too. Say what you want about these people, but it won't change the fact that they're out there. Almost any humanoid or even non-humanoid Pokemon can qualify as what they call a waifu. None seems more popular than the Generation 3 Pokemon Gardevoir. Mostly, depictions of Gardevoir in this community tend to portray it as a very feminine Pokemon, giving it breasts and feminine facial features. However, let's take a look at Gardevoir as an actual Pokemon, shall we? Not only can Gardevoir be either male or female, but in Japanese its name is the decidedly masculine Sir Knight. Its design isn't meant to resemble a feminine form wearing a dress, but instead a masculine magical knight. Its chest is completely flat, with no protrusions other than the red triangle that pierces its body. So sorry Gardevoir lovers everywhere, but your waifu is kind of a dude.
That was nothing. That was nothing. You explained nothing. So according to your utterly warped logic, you think Gardevoir is supposedly overrated because certain members of the Pokemon community draw her as a very sexual, feminine character, right? Oh, and on top of that, because Gardevoir can be bigender, which means it can be both male and female, that's why she's overrated, right? And so all the members of the Pokemon community that draw her as a very sexual femme fatale and they dream of her as a waifu, that's why she's overrated, right? Right? Not only is your reasoning incredibly paper thin, but it's also poor. You don't elaborate. You don't explain why these things are supposedly overrated. You're just putting out all of this nonsensical bullshit and labeling it as reasons as to why this supposed thing is overrated. Gardevoir is not overrated either. And for a list about overrated Pokemon, you're not doing a very good job at finding actual overrated Pokemon. Okay, look, I'm gonna calm down. It's not that, okay, yeah, it's pretty bad, but maybe it gets better. No, I was kidding, it doesn't get better. So we're gonna skip straight to number 1. Now, this one is a total head scratcher. This one is not only confusing, but it will make you wanna rip your hair out right down to the scalp. And if you guessed that the number 1 entry was Charizard, then you would be right, my fine friends. It is Charizard. Let's hear her reasoning as to why Charizard is supposedly the most overrated Pokemon ever.
We thought of Charizard as a badass because we could project things that we thought were cool onto it, making it the ultimate childhood empowerment fantasy. This cool creature was ours to control, and it was everything we thought was cool. For evidence of Charizard's overwhelming popularity based only on its design, one need not look any further than the base set Charizard card. It was never actually that rare a card. Really, aside from pre-releases and misprints, there aren't any actually rare base set cards, not even first edition or shadowless cards.
That's the crux of your entire argument. Charizard is overrated because he's a big, fire-breathing dragon, because of his design. Really? And that's it? You're not even gonna bother to try and elaborate. Okay, that's wonderful. Oh, and there's this little gem she drops here, which is utterly astounding. I think you guys are really gonna like this one.
If you ever want to use Charizard in an actual competitive match, you're out of luck, because by the time you even get it out onto the field, it will already have sustained serious damage, possibly even enough to immediately knock it out.
If you ever want to use Charizard in an actual competitive match, you're out of luck, because by the time you even get it out onto the field, it will already have sustained serious damage. Possibly even enough to immediately knock it out.
That's another problem that I have with this video. The fact that you try to portray what's clearly an opinion as fact. Charizard is completely useless in competitive battle. You may think that Charizard is completely useless in competitive battle, but that doesn't mean that everybody thinks that he's useless in competitive battle. I'm willing to bet that there are a lot of Pokemon players out there that can make Charizard work in a competitive battle. I'm even willing to bet that a lot of those same Pokemon players can even win with Charizard in a competitive battle. So the fact that you're trying to say, oh, he's useless in competitive battle, and try to push it as some kind of fact when it's clearly an opinion is utterly ridiculous. And your whole reasoning as to why Charizard is the most overrated Pokemon ever is incredibly dumb. Oh, your reasoning is the fact of design, nostalgia, the fact that he's a little bit shorter than a dragon is supposed to be, and the fact that he's supposedly useless in competitive battle. That's it. That's a whole reasoning as to why Charizard is overrated. To be quite honest with you, I think the only reason you put Charizard at number 1 is simply to piss off all the Charizard fans out there who love this character and would flame you in the comments saying that Charizard should not be the most overrated Pokemon. I think it was definitely a move to increase the video's visibility. The fact that you thought that this script was good enough to record and then edit and then upload to everyone on YouTube is quite utterly astounding. The video has so many holes that you could probably make an entire block of cheese out of it. Swiss cheese, in fact. Now, I could pick apart this video all day, but I'm not going to, not only because I think you guys get the point, but just out of sheer human decency. If you ever wanted to know why people make commentaries criticizing Tamashi so much, videos like this are exactly why. Speaking of which, why do people hate Tamashi so much? Well, allow me to properly explain. Look at all these white knight faggots. Listen here, you fucks. We don't hate Tamashi because she's a girl. Who gives a fuck? Honestly, we hate her because she is a whiny-ass, brain-dead feminist that blames all the world's problems on men. It's not that she's a feminist either. She's just another one of those feminists that don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Get off your white horse, faggots. Tamashi, the girl that sees sexism on Pokemon? Ha ha ha! Yeah, because you know Lopunny makes every Pokemon player to masturbate, a poketuber that blocks people who made legitimate criticism, blocks comments because they are mean, Anita Sarkeesian bullshit, feminism BS. I wish Tamashi wasn't in this episode. She's also a notorious bully where she thinks people can't see her despite her supporting anti-bullying campaigns, and trying to tell people to be better and move past it and all that garbage, but she's constantly a bully on her Tumblr and in private, and even called an autistic fan a guard fag because he didn't like some of the stuff she was saying about God of War fans in one of her episodes. She's constantly rude to her fans for innocent things too. Why do so many people have something against her or hate her? People tend to hate her for her poor mic quality, feminist views, boring and repetitive voice, and the fact that she hates Generation 4 while not giving any real reasons as to why. I still have no idea why I'm still subscribed to her. Is Tamashi really that big of a feminist to think Mega Lopunny sexualizes women? Did she just completely glance over Lopunny's original design? Or does she not want a female ex-Pokemon to do Kung Fu? And does she really hate Gen 4? Why Gen 4? That's where the physical/special split finally came into play. To be honest, Tamashi doesn't deserve her spot. She should have only been an honorable mention. I used to love Tamashi, and then she shit all over Sinnoh. I liked TamashiiHiroka until she made a video about Lopunny. She claims Lopunny is incredibly sexist in that video, because it resembles the Playboy bunny, which I can't agree with, but then also mentions that Diggersby is a sexist version of males, a burping sound when it's sent in, and a fat belly. The problem with this is that she has a problem with Lopunny because it discriminates women, but she is okay with Diggersby because most guys don't care, which is a discriminating / sexist generalization towards males, thus contradicting herself. I wanted Tamashi to be number 1, and I didn't want her here at all. Well, since Tamashi is preventing us from spreading our opinions about her on her channel, let's do it here. Anything you have to say about her, say it now and here. Please don't delete this comment, Brandon. Pretend you don't see it, please. We have been stifled for too much long. We deserve this. I unsubscribed for her after that feminist bullshit regarding Diggersby. I've ignored her somewhat fucked up views regarding feminism for some time, an example being when she agreed with Anita Sarkeesian that school massacres happen because men are violent, but she starts dragging Pokemon into that shit, and on top of that she disables comments because she's too much of a coward to deal with different opinions. I'm not gonna stand by and ignore it. I literally skipped all the parts where the girl is talking. No one would blame you. I went on Twitter to ask why people hate Tamashi so much, and luckily one of my subscribers, Drifting Memer, came through for me. Before I go any further, huge shout out goes out to Drifting Memer. He provided me with some additional research assistance for this video, and he also made me promise to give him a shout out, so here you go, dude. I appreciate your help. You have made this video so much better, so thank you. This is what he told me when I asked why people hate Tamashi, and I'm directly quoting him here. I feel like people hate her because of her horseshit points, especially Diggersby. Now, come on, Memer, let's not be so hasty. Maybe she has a good reason as to why she hates Diggersby. There's got to be a good reason. I mean, she is well respected in the Pokemon community. Let's hear her reasons as to why she hates Diggersby.
I'd argue that a closer gender counterpoint to Lopunny would actually be Diggersby. For one thing, they actually seem to be designed intentionally that way, considering they're both humanoid rabbit-based designs, with feminine and masculine characteristics respectively. But for another, the implication here is that masculine things are not attractive by nature. Here's the feminine thing. It is pretty. It even wolf whistles at you in case you don't get the message that this is the object of desire in question. Here is a masculine thing. It belches at you. It's lumpy. It's conventionally unattractive and undesirable. This reinforces gender roles of both men and women in terms of who is the sexual object, and I feel like that's actually a lot more harmful to men than if Diggersby was just a sexualized male humanoid rabbit thing.
If you thought that was stupid, her reasons for hating Lopunny are even stupider. Check this out.
When I first saw Lopunny, my immediate thought was this.
Her whole reason for hating Lopunny and Diggersby are the fact that they're supposedly gender stereotypes. They're sexist, apparently. Instead of focusing on the things that actually matter, their stats, attributes, their usefulness in battle, no, we gotta focus on how they're sexist and gender stereotyping. Now, Tamashi is being sexist in of herself for two reasons. One, she kind of implies that society seems to think that men are fat, lumpy, and unattractive, but really, if we're going by that logic, then nobody thinks certain women are fat, lumpy, and unattractive, right? I mean, it's only men that are fat, lumpy, and unattractive, right? And for two, this also seems to imply that men can't be the object of desire for women. Only women can be the object of desire because reasons, I guess. And really, that's one of my biggest problems with Tamashi. She focuses on things that really don't matter and just tries to insert feminism and gender stereotyping where it doesn't make sense. Like, apparently, because they're supposedly sexist, that's a good enough reason to label them as the worst Pokemon in X and Y, apparently. The fact that you can't see how incredibly stupid your logic is unbelievable to me. I mean, you have to realize how hypocritical that is, right? Because that doesn't even make any sense. You know, it's not like men it's not like men can't be desirable, and it's certainly not like certain women can't be fat, lumpy, and unattractive. And really, what evidence do you really have that these Pokemon were designed for gender stereotyping? They weren't designed for gender stereotyping. You're just hurling a bunch of bullshit trying to desperately make people to believe you because you think, well, oh, if I say that these Pokemon were designed for gender stereotyping, then it must be true. Despite the fact that these Pokemon were designed in the way they were designed because that's the way they were designed. I don't think Game Freak had intended for it to be gender stereotyping. That's just how they're designed. Oh, good lord. It is just... What else can I really say? I mean, I could go on about how stupid it is, but I think you get the point. Now, her insertion of feminism gets even worse. And when you look at this tweet, this is honestly unbelievable. This goes on record as one of the stupidest things I've ever read on Twitter. Ever. That's saying something. Anyways, let's take a look at it. It's very easy for male YouTubers to say there's no disadvantage to being a girl when they've never had to experience being a girl YouTuber. Assumptions, assumptions, assumptions. That's most of what Tamashi does, is nothing but assumptions without any sort of evidence to back up her claims. Where's your evidence? Where's your proof? Which male YouTubers are saying there's no disadvantage to being a female YouTuber? Because I haven't heard it, and most male YouTubers haven't said it, at least the ones that I follow. Now, am I going to deny that a male YouTuber hasn't said that at least one point in time? No, I'm not. But to insinuate that male YouTubers are saying there's no disadvantage to being a female YouTuber, and then not have any evidence to back up your claims, you kind of come off as a little bit untrustworthy. Not only that, it's this whole woe is me victimhood crap, like you're trying to play the victim and trying to insert feminism and gender stereotyping where it doesn't make sense. And this type of shit annoys me because feminists constantly complain that there's no equality and it's practically a sausage party, and then they complain when there is equality. So, which one is it? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, oh jeez. And male YouTubers and female YouTubers, we both have it tough. We're both attacked, we're both harassed, we both go through the trials and tribulations of being a YouTuber. It doesn't matter if you're male or a female, you know? So to imply that there's superiority when there isn't any is utterly ridiculous. I mean, you have to realize how warped and illogical your logic is, because it is warped and illogical. And it's truly sad, given how nice you are on the surface, how friendly of a personality that you have on the surface, and yet you have all these radical ideals, yet you make all these baseless assumptions, yet you constantly say this stupid shit without any sort of evidence to back up your claims, and are just making it up because of reasons. It's just unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And the fact that you've gotten as popular as you are today, given the type of stuff you engage in, is utterly astounding. I'm shocked. I'm really, really shocked. And if you're ever wondering why people hate Tamashi so much, if you're ever wondering why people make so many commentaries on her, shit like this is exactly why. Now, I'm not saying I hate her myself. I don't. But stuff like this doesn't make me like her. Let's just put it that way. Stuff like this makes me dislike her. It's also alleged that she supports Anita Sarkeesian on her views about school shootings. Basically, she believes that school shootings are only caused by men because all men are violent. Now, I tried to find evidence on this, and I couldn't find anything on it, so I can't say for 100% sure that this is the truth. But if it is true, then that is fucked up beyond all recognition. If anyone has any evidence to prove that this is the case, please leave it in the comment section down below. It would be a great help. Now, another thing Tamashi is known for is disabling comments and blocking people. Let's see how bipolar she is in the comment section, shall we? Tamashi has a real problem when it comes to the comment section. Seriously, she's constantly enabling and disabling the comment section for no other reason other than to cultivate some echo chamber hug box around herself for people to cater to her opinions and nothing but her opinions. Don't believe me? Check this out. I posted a video yesterday. Comments have been turned off because a million jokes about the friend zone aren't funny. They're rude. In light of YouTube's recent changes, all comments have been turned on. I'm hopeful that the focus on engagement will push higher quality. Tamashi has gained quite the reputation for doing this kind of shit over the years, and I just don't get it. I mean, disabling the comments because people made a bunch of harmless friend zone jokes about your boyfriend, Chaz? Really? Fucking really? that's ridiculous. Again, I'm assuming these friend zone jokes were harmless, and I'm pretty sure they were. But again, friend zone jokes. And apparently people saying, oh, he's in the friend zone, was just enough for you to disable the comments. And she does this type of shit constantly. She will flip-flop between disabling comments and enabling comments, disabling comments, then enabling comments, back and forth. It's maddening. And what I don't understand is the fact that you're one of the biggest names in the Pokemon community. You put yourself out there, you make highly opinionated videos on Pokemon, a lot of which are flawed and don't make any sense, and then you expect people to stay silent and not criticize you for it. How about not creating a public account if you can't handle feedback? And to me, it's honestly like you just can't handle it. Because you're afraid of what people may say about your videos. You're afraid of people having differing opinions that challenge your own. And shouldn't you want feedback? Shouldn't you want people to say, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that? Because a healthy disagreement makes discussion better. It ultimately leads to a healthier discussion, and it doesn't create this hive mind. But that's seemingly what you want. You just want to create this hive mind around yourself where people just stay silent and praise you for every little thing that you do, and nobody challenges you, nobody criticizes you. You know, it is just ridiculous. It is no different than Anita Sarkeesian. Now, I'm not saying that she is as bad as Anita Sarkeesian. Honestly, nobody can be as bad as Anita Sarkeesian. But I'm saying her mentality of disabling comments and then blocking people that disagree with her is very similar to that of Anita Sarkeesian. It's insane to me. You know, it's utterly insane. You know, and it's just like, pick which one. Do you want to hear feedback or do you not want to hear feedback? Because you constantly can't flip-flop depending on what mood you're in, right? And it's like this because, oh, if somebody says something she doesn't like or doesn't agree with, disables the comments, oh, but when it can be to her benefit, when it can make her channel look better, enable the comments a few months later. Not only does she enable the comments, but she also moderates the comments quite heavily. I'm not kidding. She actually legitimately moderates the comments. Don't believe me? Here's her admitting to moderating comments. Comments are now re-enabled with moderation, so if you had something to say, now is your chance. I reached out to her on Twitter to try and get a comment from her, to get her perspective on all this, to get her side of the story. Unfortunately, as of the recording of this episode, those tweets have not been returned. And when you have somebody who's disabling and re-enabling the comments at will every few months, and when you have somebody who's moderating them, that's not a good sign. That's proof that they cannot handle feedback, that they cannot handle criticism, that they're afraid of people having a differing opinion to their own. And look, I get why she does it. I do. Because it sucks when people criticize you. It sucks when people say something bad about your work. We're all content creators. We're all human. So I totally get that. Here's the thing. I've had people criticize me throughout the years. People disagree with me all the time, and I've made my fair share of unpopular videos. But the difference between you and me, Tamashi, is that I would never, ever think about disabling comments or blocking people who simply disagree with me. That's not something a rational person would do. It's just something an asshole would do. Period. I truly believe that disagreement is great for open, honest discussion, because without that, it just becomes a hive mind where everybody parrots each other's opinions and nobody can have a differing point of view. And who wants that? You should want feedback. You should want people to challenge your opinions, because it's just healthy for debate. It's healthy for discussion. And the fact that you can't see that is sad. It's unfortunate. And I truly think that your channel would be better if you didn't view it as an insult, if you didn't view it as an attack, but as a way to help make your videos better. But honestly, at this point, you're never going to see that because you're so far up your own ass, and you've become so, egotistical and arrogant that you can't see that the way you're doing things as they are now are flawed. Now look, I could go on about this for days upon days and days and days, but I don't need to. I think you guys have got the gist of what I'm trying to say here, so let's just leave it at that. Alright, let's just go to the examinometer and call this one a day, shall we? Let's fire up the examinometer and give this channel a score. The few genuinely good aspects are not enough to save Tamashii's channel from being muddled and directionless. From her incredibly flawed and illogical countdowns, to her incredibly dismissive attitude towards criticism and feedback, and her undying need to insert feminism and gender stereotypes into absolutely everything, this channel is impossible to recommend, even for die-hard Pokemon fans. And while she's far from the worst poketuber out there, honestly, she's not really any good. And while she does have a lot of potential, and she's not completely terrible, honestly, this channel is not worth your time, and it's probably better if you just stay away from it. Whew. Alright, that's all I gotta say. This examination is over. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, signing out. Deuces, stay frosty and keep it warm. Cue an outro sequence now.
Please,